Hi friends, welcome to Wheel Owner Arts. I'm Leslie, and today I have a super excited project to share with you. Ara Bentley from Bentley House Minis and I are doing a collaboration. If you're into miniatures, you know who Ara is. Her videos are fantastic. She gives such great explanations of how she makes things, and they're really fun. She has multiple projects that she's worked on. She did the Addams Family house in miniature. She is working on a Beetlejuice house, which is so much fun. She's just finished the Captain Quarters. That's really kind of like a sci-fi miniature based in a ship. And it's a really cool story. So go check out Ara. She is amazing. We decided we wanted to do a collaboration with the theme Frozen. In this collaboration, she is making, I don't want to give away too many details, but she's making something in a Frozen theme. And then I am making her an ice fairy. So today we are going to be making an ice fairy. Let's start making Ara's ice fairy. I am going to start by using Super Sculpting Living Doll. This is my favorite clay to sculpt with. I'm going to use ball bearings for her eyes. You can start eyes with many different things. You could use pre-made glass eyes. You could use polymer clay balls and then paint those. But ball bearings are a great round surface that you can also paint on and bake in the oven. I always like to get the eyes going first. It's just if I can't get the eyes right, nothing works out for me. So it's not going to stay alien shape. We're just going to paint these eyes. So my friends, I first really struggle with this face. I got the eyes going how I want them to be, but then I put on her nose and I take off her nose and then I smooth things out and then I add things. So it takes me a little bit to get her where I want her to be. But we get there, we get there. It's just sometimes it's a process because you have to like really feel it. If you're not feeling it, you got to change it. She looks very alien for a little bit, but then we get into the groove. Once I get the eyes where I want them to be, I like to work on the nose. And I usually start with a little elongated triangle shape that I make separately and then I add it to the face. I really just want her to have like a button nose. And little kids' noses, they don't have a huge bridge. Their bridge is kind of more slopey. Not that this is a little kid's nose, but she's a fairy. She's whatever age Ara wants her to be, but she's going to have childlike features regardless of her age. Small features are hard, so we're just going to keep going and play around with it. Just want to sketch in where I think her eyebrows will be. I want her to have elf ears or fairy ears. Building up her face, I want her to have very soft face. So I don't want it to be major cheekbones, but I want it to come into a pointy-ish jawline. I like her little chin. She's got kind of like non-existent mouth or just a divot for a mouth. Let's see if we can get her some kind of mouth. Next, we're going to make her armature, which is her framing for her body. And this is my second attempt. I like this one, but the more I play with the wire, the more fragile it gets. So if I keep twisting it, for example, this is what's going to happen. Just from bending it, broke. So I want stronger wire, and this is 26 gauge. I really want her to be a little bit flexible. So I got a bunch of this wire and I'm going to separate it. My plan is to twist it. That's just going to tighten the wires. We just keep trying things, guys. You know what? If it doesn't work, you try something else. And because she's such a petite little doll, we need to make her strong as possible for her petite frame. I want sections of 3. These are just kind of extra wires. We're going to leave these here in case we need them. So we got our little crisscross applesauce. So you can also use the old drill trick where you stick the wires into the drill and then you go and they twist them all up. But hands work just as well, slower. We've got our kind of a basic shape. Come on, baby, do the twist.
Oh no, twist. That's an oldie. Now we're gonna have solidness with this. I'm just twisting where I'm gonna have her joints. Shoulder area, approximately elbows. Arms are super long. I'm going to deal with that in the future. Waist, hips, and this is gonna be her legs. La, 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 la. Then her knees will be approximately around here. Let's continue with this. I'm happy with this so far. Getting excited here.
I'm adding a little polymer clay to her chest and neck area. Once I add her head, I can blend the two pieces together. I made a variety of wings for this ice fairy. I used some cellophane, which you melt with the heat gun. I tried faux flowers, and I just kept coming back to this method with feathers and polymer clay and paint. Something about it I just liked. Maybe her wings are made of ice and feathers.
And we have a cellophane wing. Guys, I'm really still liking these crazy feather wings. I think Ava would appreciate the uniqueness of them. I think we're gonna go with that. I think those are gonna be super cool on her. We have our little fairy, and now I wanna make her hands. I don't need to add wire because they're so little, but I just wanna make them as strong as possible. So I'm going to make them with wire. I have 5 pieces of wire here. This is just 26 gauge wire.
I make hands by separating the wire into 5 pieces, cutting the length I need, and then bending the wire at the knuckles. I'll be using cause clay for the hands. This is a polymer clay that once baked, it's still bendable, so it will have less chance of breaking after it's been baked.
So we have one little hand made, and then I'm gonna go ahead and make the other hand. We have our 2 little hands. This one's kind of pointing and this one's just kind of relaxed. I'm gonna add them to her body now, trim the excess wire. We have our 2 hands connected. That's just wire twisted on each other. I just want to reinforce it with some cause clay around where the connectors are, and then I'm gonna leave the rest as wires so they can still be positioned. Our connection is reinforced with some clay. Now I want to work on her shoes. I'm just going to make some simple shoes. She's going to be a flying fairy. She'll be dangling or attached in some way where she's flying. Her legs can be loose. She's not going to be standing. So I twisted the extra wire on itself just to make a foot shape where I can attach the clay. We have some basic little booties to work with. So next I just want to add a little bit of detail on the boot. She has some little boots.
She's been baked and she is ready for some coloring with some pastels and some watercolor pencils. I'm also using some matte varnish off camera between layers of the pastels. The matte spray will set the pastels and have them adhere to the clay, as well as I can add layers of the pastels to achieve the color or darkness of the color that you want. I just want her to have a light touch of rosy cheeks and a little hint of eyelashes around her eyes.
I want her to have white hair with some blue wispies in it. I have some of this synthetic hair. It's beautiful, but it might not fall right for being so miniature. So I might have to go with my usual faux fur. This is the fur that I've used for so many projects now. We have Falcor, Swamp Witch, Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus. They've all used this white fur. She might have to go with this just because it might be more manageable to style because of her being so little. We're gonna start on her hair. This is some slightly watered down tacky glue. So I want her just to have some occasional teeny little wisp of blue hair. We have hair in all sorts of directions right now. We're gonna let it dry. When you're doing hair, I think it's always good to step away from it because the more you work with it, especially when it's such a small little character, the more you work with it, the more disheveled it gets. So glue it in place, step away, let it dry, and then do your styling. If you try to style it while it's wet, it's gonna move around. I am liking her hair right now. I might add a little something, decorations or whatnot, but right now we need a wrapper. I am gonna use this old cloth I have, cut it into strips. I'm trying to get the fringe. I want the fringe around her hand. I'm gonna attach her wings. Now we're just twisting this fabric around her. So what I want to do now is add volume to her dress. So I like the idea of her dress being just kind of gathered pieces together. I'm happy with the top. I like that piece together, handmade, like she made a dress just wrapping herself. A little needle thread. I just want to tack down the dress in certain areas.
I originally painted her boots a darker blue, and now I'm just toning them down some with some white. I wanted her to have a little bit of a sparkle in her hair, so I'm using nail art here to add a little sparkle. And now I'm just dipping her feet in some faux snow, so it looks like she stepped down in snow at some point.
What I want to do now is make a stand. Era's going to place it in her diorama, and if she wants to use it, she can. This is UV resin.
This is a silicone ball that you can make resin molds out of, and I'm just using the bottom little portion of it to make kind of an ice design.
I'm just going to see if I can make some kind of base. I'm not worried about bubbles or anything. I want it to look like ice. Let's see if that at least works, and then we'll go from there. Take my UV light, and we're going to harden it. Okay, it feels hard. That is what I was looking for. I just wanted like a little icy area. I gave Era a couple options to hang. She can hang her with this little hook here. If she doesn't like that or if it's interferes, she can snip that off. Or she can insert this acrylic rod just up in her dress area.
This pink mold is also a mold used for dessert making and different things.
My concern is it's not going to cure because it's not transparent. It feels hard. I'm going to pull it out. We'll find that piece one day. Let's do it this way. Ah! All right, I have a plan. I have a plan. So this will be the piece that just kind of permanently stays. Era can use it or not use it. I'm going to add a little bit of more UV resin here. I'm going to take some of my ice crystal things. Da, da, da. All right, we have our little thing here. I might have to work on making it a little flatter. So if I take this little rod and I stick it in the back of her dress, I feel like I need to make some kind of flat piece to go underneath. It's a little too weeble wobbly. I have one of these earring backings. I'm going to use, let's try this one. This guy out. We added the little flat part to our stand.
So our little ice fairy is fully posable. Her body can bend at the waist a little bit. Her arms can bend. Her legs can bend. And her upper wings can slightly bend into different positions. So Era has options. I'll set her with the acrylic rod in case she wants to use that in her diorama somehow. The rod can just be inserted up through her dress in the back. This is a little stand if she wants to use that. And then she has a little wand if Era wants to glue it in her hand. She has that option. I'll send her some little icicles and
maybe even some of these little resin snowflakes. I love her. I'm so happy with how she turned out. I had so much fun making her and all her little details. I hope Ava likes her, but I'm really happy with how she turned out. I think she's so cute. Keep your eye out for Ava's upcoming video. You'll see where she places this beautiful fairy. Stay tuned for Chapter 11 in my Never Ending Story miniature series, which is also a Frozen theme, featuring a special item Ava makes me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's check out the final results.